Welcome to the family with
Officer Dave.
And Andy Bernard.
And Josh Arnold. Is it getting better?
You got to get a little deeper, I think, because he doesn't
Arnold.
have that really super nasally.
No, that's true.
He's Josh Arnold,
Mhm.
Mr. Money Talk.
There you go. Ooh, he does like to do that.
Oh,
That
yeah?
is true. There's
This
no
is
question.
true.
So we got a contest going on. Who's going to be on the show first? Is it going to be Josh or Giovanni Ribisi?
My money is $9.55. Will be when Josh walks in
Yeah,
the
Josh is rarely that late. 10:10.
Oh, I thought he was on at 10 o'clock.
No, 10:10. He's on the calendar.
Oh, I didn't even know that. He's on the calendar. Well, I work with a bunch of hunyucks now. Then nothing's ever on the calendar. So, it's one of those. So he's 10:10 to 10:20.
10:10 to something.
All right, it'll
I
be
guess
fine.
whenever Art says time's up.
Time's up, Buster Brown. No, I'm looking forward to talking to Giovanni Ribisi. I talked to him years and years ago. I can't remember which movie, but he did a movie. I won't start talking about it now because I'll never stop talking. It's one of my favorite movies, and I don't think Andy. Would you look and see what the box office was for 10th and Wolf? Total box office, because last time I checked, it was like 80 grand or something. It just
Jeez.
never did anything.
Let's see. Why is Mom calling me on the show? Also, why is my ringer going off? All
Mom
the
didn't
questions.
call me. You're more popular than I am. She didn't
Should
call
probably
me.
answer, but it's 140,000.
That's
box office.
it.
Holy buckets.
140 grand, and that thing's been out for 19 years.
That's
I think.
amazing.
I know. With all these people. This is a movie with James Marsden, Giovanni Ribisi, Brad Renfro, Dennis Hopper, Piper Perabo, Val Kilmer, Leo Rossi, Brian Dennehy. I mean, all those people are in that movie, and I happened to find it, I think, at one of those, bins at the video store back
Really?
in the day.
10th and Wolf is what it's called.
It's called 10th and Wolf. I think it's a terrific movie, but for some reason, people just did not like it. I don't know if I'll bring it up to him because it might piss him off.
It might make him mad.
It might make him mad just bringing it up. I'm not sure. But
I don't know. You want to piss off somebody named Giovanni.
Yeah, you probably don't. I would say that, it's not a bad idea. No question about that. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But so the weather is supposed to be spectacular. Now it's only going to get up to what, 68 today, something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
But still, that's fine.
I've got heading up to Brainerd this afternoon for a Hams party, and it's going to be
Ham's beer party.
Yep, bunch of the collector guys get together, and
Really?
we have one in July. There's this one coming up now in September. Then next week, when I won't be around, they'll be having one in Winnebago, and then there'll be another one in.
These are all beer fests?
They're not really beer fests. They're just
they're
a
not.
bunch of the guys that love to collect
okay.
stuff, get together and talk about what they found, what they get.
Is Ham still the beer refreshing?
It is still the beer refreshing.
Okay,
that
I'm glad to
that
hear
is
that.
my brand. Yes, sir.
I think that might be the only brand I didn't do the voiceover for of beer. I
Really?
did every beer that was ever invented.
You got to watch the Halsey Hall commercial for Hams.
Oh,
Look it up
my God. I love
on
Halsey
YouTube.
Hall.
Yep.
Let me just tell you something. Oh, my God.
He and Ray Scott and Halsey Hall
Phenomenal.
tries to pour a beer, and it's nothing but foam. And it's just it's a train wreck. We know Halsey can't pour beer.
No, apparently not. Apparently he couldn't get that done. But, that was a great group. There's no question about it.
That was iconic.
I guess he used to sit in the booth and drive people nuts because he would eat raw onions.
Why would you do that?
Like an apple. He'd eat it like an apple. I have no idea.
I like onions, but I like them usually fried up. But...
Well, and I guess if you're biting off a fresh onion, that odor goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People didn't really care for it too much, but but that was a great group. You had some of the greatest announcers in the history of baseball doing the Twins games. No question about it.
You want to talk about the Park Tavern deal a little bit?
We probably should talk about the Park Tavern deal because two people lost their lives.
Two people lost their lives. The guy was a .325.
God. 4 times illegal.
4 times the legal limit. And apparently he had several DWIs prior.
5. Yep.
So, yeah, it's like, and really the only people you can blame are the lawyers and the judges.
I would have to agree with that.
Because it is, there are the rules that you can only be this or that. You can't be over. You can't,
Yeah,
and they make these pleas and, I'll go to treatment. It'll all be wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And,
well,
get
the
their
guy
license back.
apparently after what will be his 6th DUI, 2 people are dead. He claimed he was not drunk.
Yeah. It'll be
0.325.
criminal vehicular homicide.
Speaking of booze
right there.
hounds.
Booze? Yeah.
I'll take some.
Yeah. I need some booze this morning. That's for sure.
Why? A lot of traffic?
The traffic. What is it? What is it with people?
By the way, I won.
You did
Of course
win.
You won.
Right on. Oh, you're off by 2 minutes.
No, he walked in a minute ago.
I thought you said 55.
Yeah, I got
Oh, there
this.
you go.
It is
It
55.
is 55.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My God.
What is it with people when you enter into a highway?
Mm-hmm.
I was taught. Now I've realized this was a long time ago, and I was taught by Ray McKenzie at Haddon Township High School in a big old 1967 Impala
Oh,
bench
great
seat.
car. Great
Yep.
car.
I mean, the bench seat, you could fall asleep in the back seat.
You can
And
fall
for
asleep
somebody,
in the front seat.
well, for somebody my size, I could get in the back seat, stretch out, would not hit the door.
Yeah.
You guys, because you're taller than me, you'd have to curl up a little bit. Ray McKenzie said, you get on any highway, you better be at the speed limit or slightly ahead when you enter.
Yep.
We call it gap gauge go. That's what we teach our students. That's what I teach my students. And I always tell them, I always add this in there because I'm me and this is how I am. If you're the type that comes down the on-ramp screaming and then all of a sudden you lose your nerve, I'm going to hunt you down and I'm going to body slam you.
You should.
I know, it's so annoying. It happens all the time.
Yeah. It's like they just, I can't, I'm too afraid.
The thing I don't get, they'll be going, highway speeds on the on-ramp coming down, and then you're in the lane just to the left of them. And then for some reason they'll pull up and then they'll match your speed like you're on a pirate ship and they're trying to board you. It's like, why are you matching my speed? Pick any speed except my speed.
And it only takes 1 or 2 miles per hour
Yeah,
difference.
that's all you got. Just go slower, go faster. I don't care. You don't sidle up beside me and then try to get on the highway. It doesn't make any sense. Is it target fixation?
I think it's just plain idiotic stupidity.
Well,
Idiotic stupidity. I like that. That works for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Josh, today I wanted to warn you that unlike the last time you were on the show, when it really wasn't Christopher Walken you were talking to, and we never
And you
off.
pranked me. You pranked.
I did. I
got
pranked
it.
you.
It was a good prank.
Yeah, you haven't been on since then, have you?
No. He was here last week.
I was here
Oh,
last
that's
week.
where you were.
Yeah.
And I was on Tuesday talking about taxes, not Texas, taxes.
Let's not talk about any more taxes. Like I said, Minnesota, in the middle of nowhere, has the 4th highest taxes in America.
Thanks, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. The reason I bring this up is today it will be the real Giovanni Ribisi on at 10 after 10. One of the great actors of all time. Just he's one of my favorites. The guy's just unbelievably good. But so yeah, I didn't want you thinking we were pranking you again by having Craig Gass call in as Giovanni. I don't even know if he does Giovanni Ribisi. He probably does though. I would guess he does. But what the hell? But I just wanted to give you a heads up. So
That's a wonderful thing. I will try to keep my mouth shut so I don't embarrass myself.
No.
Talking about the
Don't keep
3
me about it.
T's.
That's correct. I don't want to be.
Oh,
We'll just leave it
3Ts.
there.
Okay.
It was very popular.
It
though.
was very
The 3T is
popular.
very popular. There's no question.
I might change Josh in my contact list to 3T.
Well,
3T Arnold.
Yeah, there you go.
all we're talking about is Terry, Tom, and Todd. The
Yeah,
three-
that's it.
you know,
The 3
Tony.
Bernard boys.
Yeah, exactly. No question about it. That was the 5 T's, but as a matter of fact, Terry, Tom, Todd, Tony, and Troy.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Unbelievable. But yeah, so it's going to be the real guy, and we
Mhm.
definitely want you to jump into the interview and all the rest of it. And don't think we're pranking you, because we're not.
Okay.
But when Craig Gass comes to town, I just love the fact that he learned to do that because his entire family, other than he, were deaf.
Yeah.
Or
That's
are deaf.
unbelievable.
I know, it's just amazing. He had to learn how to talk by watching television.
Guy's got some crazy talent. There's
Oh,
no
it's
doubt about it.
amazing.
I
There's
sat
no
here and
question.
laughed so hard the whole show.
It took me a while until after I got off the show, and I was telling, oh my gosh, I got to tell you people here I was on the show with, and it's dawning on me, what the heck is Tom Arnold doing on Christopher Walken?
They're both in town. Well, Tom Arnold used to live here, didn't
Yeah,
he?
I think he was
Yeah,
Like
he
from
lived here for a while.
Iowa or someplace originally.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
That I did know. That was pretty good. You know, you're with Iowa, and I was
Mhm.
talking about his ex-wife,
Sure. Rosie, what's her name? Roseanne.
Roseanne
Barr.
Roseanne Barr.
Boy, she's got to be easy to live with, don't you think?
What do you mean?
Oh God, can you even imagine? Not that I'm easy to live with. Don't get
No,
me wrong, but
totally understand that.
Andy,
I just see Catherine right outside the door with a bat.
yeah, she'd be outside. I can understand that. We were talking about that this morning, Andy. You know this is true. That back in the day when I was a younger man and I'd get pissed off at somebody, because back in the day when I used to get mad, I used to get like really mad. I wasn't good at covering it up. Every time I did that, Andy's mother would come over and pet my head like a dog. Settle down, Tom. It's okay. She'd pet me like a dog. It's like, thanks. I really appreciate
My
it.
wife runs and hides. I don't know.
Well, I could understand that too. It would make a lot of sense, no question about it. But so I just want to spend a couple of minutes on sports because we are coming to that time of the year where the Viking season kicks off on Sunday. The Twins did win yesterday, split that series. Now I know you're a huge Twins fan. Are you a Viking fan as well, or just a Twins fan?
Primarily a Twins fan.
That's
I
what I
stopped
thought,
being
yeah.
a Vikings fan. I think it was 1998 in January.
When they missed a field goal.
No, I
Not
didn't
that
even
one?
care about the field goal.
Oh, you
The
didn't?
field goal, the field goal didn't matter. They had a shot at winning. You've got less than a minute to go. You've got Randall Cunningham at QB.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a guy named Moss on one end.
Right.
You have Robert Smith on the other end, and you have one of the better running backs right behind you. So you've got four
Mm-hmm.
or
Four
say
weapons.
five weapons
Yep.
because Cunningham could
He could
run,
run.
pass, throw, and kick. Okay, so Cunningham could have just easily run a little bit, hit a little drop kick, put that through the uprights. The Vikings could have won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, Dennis Green, with several timeouts going, says, "Take a knee." And
Take a knee. I remember
Take
that.
a knee.
Yep.
And I threw things at the TV. You talk about anger.
Oh, yeah.
I'm throwing things at the
Yep.
TV. I'm yelling, the fix is in. Who paid this guy off?
Right.
Who paid this guy off? And of course, they lose in OT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, you have this game won. You're the best team on the field. It's in your home stadium.
Yeah.
The dome, you could not hear yourself think. Take a
I
knee
know.
with five of the best offensive players or on the field and
Yep.
timeouts on your side, and you're on your side of the field. So, okay, if you run out of bounds, okay, it's your side of the field.
Mhm.
You've got everything going, plus your kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't missed in years.
He hadn't missed in years, and you're on his side of the field to go. What are you messing around with to go to overtime? What winning coach would ever do that?
No, you're right.
Okay, would Vince Lombardi do that?
No.
If anybody pulled that, do you think he would be running out and pounding on Bart Starr? If Bart Starr ever pulled that, you think he would have done
I know.
to Paul
Oh, God.
Harning or Jim Taylor if they ever pulled that kind of stunt?
They'd not be playing football anymore. That's for
No,
sure.
they'd be in the turf.
Yep.
I'm so
At
glad
Lambeau.
you brought this up because that game, the next Tuesday
Mhm.
after that game, So I was already on the queue on Monday morning and Tuesday morning, and I walk into Creation Audio to cut some commercials, and who's there? Denny Green. I've been ripping him to shreds for 2 days. The door opens, he looks up and goes, "Oh, it's you." Yeah, he was not too happy about seeing me.
Oh,
But you're right. There was the biggest bonehead move in the history of the NFL.
whoever does that?
No one. Only Minnesota would do something like that.
I mean, I have no. So since that time, am I interested in watching football? Yes, I will. I will watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if my kids or Annie, my SO's kids are big into fantasy sports. Wonderful. I will watch it. If I want to invest, which I have, in companies like DraftKings, which is a position that I own,
Right.
happy to do that. DraftKings is, to me, I'll say it's not an expensive stock. It's not an inexpensive stock, but I think it right now trading at $35 and change. It has potential at least up to $50 as their earnings kick up. They've got plenty of competition from the likes of FanDuel, which are owned by Flutter, or Bet MGM, or ESPN Bet, which is owned by Penn Gaming, which is Penn has done awful. That to me is like the 19, like Dennis Green. They have thrown in the towel on that company. And I have people saying, "Oh, Josh, somebody's going to come in and buy Penn Gaming. They've got this deal with Disney, with ESPN," saying these guys have really screwed the pooch. They had a deal with Barstool Sports to expand their business, and that worked out for a while until we'll say it didn't. And they had issues with David Portnoy, who formerly owned Barstool Sports and now re-owns them.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Penn Gaming bought Barstool Sports for about $300 million. Had the whole thing for not even a year, sold it back to David Portnoy for
Oh, no. 50?
$1.
$1?
$1
Oh,
and an
God.
option that if Barstool Sports ever went public, they would get a share of the proceeds, just so they could cut a deal with Walt Disney and have an arrangement with ESPN Bets. You talk about management FUs. That is big, and the stock is way down, and I lost a bunch of money on that stock. But DraftKings, pretty good management, good leadership. They're one of the leaders in online sports betting, and we'll say fantasy related sports, as is FanDuel. Either one, I think, would do well, particularly with this football season coming up. And since you're talking about football, because I talked about this yesterday on another podcast, Garage Logic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, since you like the Vikings, and I know that you're good friends with the Wilfs, and I know
really tight.
And I know that
yeah.
How many years ago did they buy the Vikings?
About 10, 15, somewhere in there.
It's been a
Okay,
while.
hold on.
It's been a while.
Andy, how long ago did Wilfs buy the Vikings?
Who?
The
The
Wilfs.
Wilfs,
family.
WILF.
Wilfs?
Wilfs, they bought the Vikings.
Huh.
They did.
Okay, then.
Do you know how many years ago that was?
What else?
Here's you looking it up.
2005, it looks like.
Okay,
It was
so
20 years ago.
2005, they put in $600 million
Yes, they did.
to buy the Vikings, which was a pretty astronomical sum now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the valuation, according to CNBC's football value rankings,
Starts with a B, I'll guarantee you.
Mhm.
it does start with a B, but it starts with a 6.05.
Holy
B,
crap.
B.
Oh, 10 times then.
billion.
That's pretty good.
Now there are
Wow.
plenty of stocks over that same period of time that have done, much better than that, included Favorite Apple, Favorite Amazon, among others that have done better than that. But they have generated a lot of income. The average valuation right now of one of the 32 NFL franchises is $6 billion. That includes some teams that have never gone to the Super Bowl, like the Houston Texans, which over the period of their life do not even have a winning record.
You just got to bring in that advertising money. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, their valuation is greater than the Vikings.
Because there's a lot of people from Texas.
Okay, the most valuable franchise,
Dallas Cowboys.
Patriots.
the Dallas
Oh,
Cowboys,
yeah.
Yep.
which I don't think Jerry Jones bought for $1 million, was a money loser
Yeah.
when he started, and now has a valuation of $11 billion, 73 times what Jerry Jones paid for it in 1989.
I know there's one team in there that isn't on there.
They are on there.
Well, the Green Bay Packers.
They are on the list.
They
The
are on the
valuation is
because there
a
isn't
little
a
over $6 billion.
singular owner though.
It's owned by individual owners. The only way that you can cash in is you sell your shares back to the team, and they give you they've figured out some percentage that they're going to get, but that's still $6 billion valuation. Now, to show you how crazy that this
We
is.
got to get our guest on.
Oh.
We can continue this after the guest.
Sure.
Giovanni's ready to go, Andy?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite actors in the world, and I'm not just saying that because he's on the show, got a new setup called Strange Darling. Giovanni Ribisi with us. Giovanni, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. How are you guys? I was listening, and all that stuff is so fascinating.
Oh, I'm telling you, Giovanni,
The
it's
valuation of
$6 billion.
football. Yeah,
I know. It's
yeah,
insane.
my God.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of evaluations, I'm only going to spend 30 seconds on this because we got to talk a lot about Strange Darling because you're involved in other ways, not just as one hell of an actor. But I will never understand, Giovanni Ribisi, why 10th and Wolf didn't make about $300 million. One of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I love that movie,
Oh wow.
and I'm still
Yeah.
pissed off about it. I will tell you that. Do you want me to talk to somebody about it?
No, please don't. No. Oh gosh.
He goes, "Oh, God."
Thank you. Yeah. That was cool. That was a great experience. Yeah, those actors on that movie, incredible.
It's one of the few discs I still own. You know, discs went by the
really?
wayside.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I still own that. It's there. I think might have something to do with the Italian deal because it's you and The Godfather. So there you go.
Yeah. Hey.
It all works out. Now, Strange Darling, you you do appear in the movie. How would you describe your appearance in the movie?
Well, I mean, so I am actually, I do make a cameo appearance as a disc jockey.
Oh,
yeah. So I have a voiceover in it, but no, I'm the producer, cinematographer on the film, and yeah, that's
now that's taken on quite a bit of work, is it not? That's got to be a lot of work, I would assume.
It was, but I love it. I love, I just have such a fascination and curiosity for filmmaking overall. And this was definitely a way to explore that. I've been doing cinematography professionally for about 15 years now, music videos and commercials, but it's making features is a whole different bag. Obviously you have the same sort of foundation and tool set at your disposal, but you're telling stories in long format, and it's such a privilege to work with JT Molnar, the writer director, on this, with such compelling material as well.
I'd like to mention to people that you can see Strange Darling in theaters, which thank God this has come back, Giovanni, because I just love going to a movie theater. You go to dinner, you go to a movie. AMC Southdale 16 is where you can see Strange Darling. I plan on seeing it this weekend. Again, I hope you don't.
With an audience. It's great with an audience.
Oh yes, I see, and I'm glad you made that point because that's the whole deal. I don't mind watching movies on television, but back in the day when you'd go out to a nice Italian restaurant and then you go to a movie and everybody's there, and hey, listen, I grew up a nice Catholic boy. I stayed with all the traditions. You know what I mean? You got to eat.
Sure, yeah.
If you go into a movie, you got to eat some Italian food first. That's just how it is. It's how life goes.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, obviously, how far is it going to go until we're just all sitting in our basements on our phones? At a certain point, the communal, collective experience of going and watching an event or a film has been around for thousands and thousands of years, and it's just I think that I was just reading yesterday. I think that movies are back. Going to the movies is back stronger than ever. I just think that is just so valuable, especially after the trauma of COVID and what that did collectively to everybody's mental well-being. I think it's just good to get out now.
There's no question. Okay, so Catherine and I, my lovely wife and I, go to AMC Southdale 16 to see it tonight. We have our dinner. We're sitting down. So what's going on with Strange Darling, Giovanni Ribisi?
I don't. It's best to go in blind. Is what most people are saying. Yeah, it is, and it's definitely severe, and it's a horror thriller. But it's I think speaking about the writer director J.T. Molnar, it's so well crafted, and it goes beyond just sort of the genre, like slasher, whatever. It's something that's very compelling. And I will say this as well. It's really, I mean, the actors did such an incredible job, and it's just so compelling to see them go through this experience. So yeah, that's all I'll say.
I cannot wait to see the movie. But like I said, you probably hear that all the time, but you approach acting in a way that I just really admire. You're one of my favorite actors. And I don't say, look, I'm not just saying that because you're on the show and it's really great to have you on. And we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'd probably turn it over. Other guys probably have questions for you, but I have always enjoyed your acting. No matter what you've been in, you handle it very well. It's true though. You're one of the best of all time, pal.
Definitely got range. That's for sure. Play
God.
lots of different parts, man. It's from Nick Cage's baby brother and Gone in 60 Seconds to to this. It's like this is awesome.
Cage, I'll tell you what another Italian. Incredible.
I just want to know how did it feel to be in the crusher, in the car with the waiting to get crushed? That would not be get me out.
You get to swing the big arm and knock the guy into the crusher. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
I'm a fan.
Cool.
Well, who isn't? I mean, if you're not a fan of Giovanni Ribisi, get the hell away from me. That's all I've got.
Oh my God!
It's true.
Stop it!
Stop it, Tom! Stop it! Cut it out!
Start it,
Tom! Start it up again.
Okay, how much have you paid Tom today?
No. No. That's one thing about this job. I've been doing it now for 54 some years, being on the radio. Now podcasting has taken over, and it just some of the great moments. Matter of fact, I talked to you many, many years ago on the KQRS morning show, and I hosted it for 37 years.
Cool.
That's why I knew you were a good guy to interview. You're a very even-keeled kind of guy. I love that. I really do.
Oh, thank. Well, I have 2 5-year-old twins. Just put me in my place.
That'll do it. Andy, how much time do we have? Because I don't want to keep him too long. I know he's a very good.
Well, it said 10:30, but you were on a little bit early. Do you know when you have to be out?
Oh, I have no idea, actually.
Yeah. Well, we can go with 10:30 for now then.
Yeah.
Well, if he wants to.
Okay, great.
If Art needs to, he can text me and tell me when to cut it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I do, but seriously, I do want people to know that going to the movies, we can't lose that. And I don't know if we're even close to losing it, but it's not as big as it used to be. Going to a
Well,
movie.
no. What's interesting is that I was reading yesterday in the paper. It's bigger than ever
Good.
right now. I mean, you're seeing box office. I mean, at a certain point, I mean, my gosh, how. But I will say this as well, that if anything, one of the aspects about filmmaking that makes it become this massive gamble for production companies and financiers is that movies, you're going to the movies, you're looking at the average thriller, it's costing $80 to $150 million, right? And this is where it's like the LA real estate market. There's no point of entry for these younger, filmmakers who are coming up. It becomes impossible. There's so much red tape and so many financial restrictions. And so I think this is one of the things about Strange Darling, that we went into it and it was like an 83-page stripped down skeletal script that was just really well crafted, that we went and wanted to go make this small little scrappy movie, and so I think that's one of the things. I think there's something that needs to be addressed within the film industry. It's the fact that it's so difficult for somebody to just pick up a camera and go make a movie. I mean, it's a different world from when Charlie Chaplin was making movies.
Yeah.
What really prevents, we'll say, a young filmmaker, from starting out? You talked about regulation. Is that from the studios or just investors?
A lot of it has to do with, I mean, and I say this hypocritically because, I love residuals and I love having a pension and I love, insurance and all that. But and there's a reason for unions and the importance of that. But by the same token, it's kind of like a country. No matter what your political ideology is, it doesn't matter. It comes down to the individuals who are running the country, and like unions, there's just a lot. A good friend of mine is making his movie for $100,000. I don't even know if it's legal at this point. I say that kiddingly, but one of the unions involved took a great portion of that budget just because he had to be a signatory, and it becomes this thing where you're required to do that, and they can really damage a film. Anyways, I go on, and but I think that's one aspect of it. But again, I think it's just at a certain point, I think people have to figure out a way to go and make movies where it's just less of a gamble. I think you'll have a lot more creative, interesting, original content that way.
We had an entertainment reporter on today that was talking about the fact that the way things are headed now, that not a lot, well, I shouldn't say not a lot, but some very big stars like yourself. Do you live in in California?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Los Angeles.
Yeah, there you go. But a lot of actors do not live in the state anymore. I don't know, what the situation is there. But she speculated this morning that it may come to a time when there's one gigantic studio doing everything, because there are a lot of cutbacks going on in Hollywood, are there not, right now?
Yeah, there are. I mean, it is just because. I think after COVID and after the strikes that happened from the unions, there's a lot of companies that are having a hard time bouncing back. When something like that happens, or when it happened recently, it wasn't just the studios being affected by it. It was obviously the members of the unions that were also involved.
Right.
But it was restaurant owners and rental houses, for camera equipment, and I mean, the list goes on. And I think it had on the California economy, it had a $7 billion impact on it, which was, which, I mean, you could go buy a football.
There you go. You can buy a football team. You could almost buy. You just need another $1 billion. You can buy the LA Rams.
There you go. But the point is like, again, I think that at the end of the day, if you have a guy who has a voice as a storyteller, I think that needs to be cultivated and supported, and that impetus, that spirit needs to be, and it becomes more and more difficult with again the